a killing machine with a need to bleed. Your light goes green. Best believe I'm in the zone before you into my yang disease. Put it real much here when you come to me. Cause I'll win, I'm a one of a kind, and I'll bring death to the place you're about to be. Another river of blood running under my feet. Forged in a fire lit long ago. Stand next to me, you'll never stand alone. I'm last to leave, but the first to go. Lord, make me dead before you make me old. Lead on through the devil inside of every faces in my sight. Aim with a hand, shoot with a mind, kill with a heart like Arctic ice.
I am a soldier and I'm marching on.
I am a soldier and I'm marching on.
I am a warrior, this is my song.
I am a warrior and this is my song. I'm basking the glow of the rising war. Lay waste under an enemy shore. Wade through the blood spilled on the floor. And if another one stands, I'll kill some more. Bullet in the breach and a fire in me. Like a cigarette thrown to gasoline. If death don't bring you fear, I swear you'll be mine. Come to the nightmare, come to me. Deep down in the dark where the devil be. The mall with the jaws and the razor teeth. Where the brimstone burns and the angel weeps. Crawl to the gods of across your path. And my silhouette hangs like a body bag. Hope is a moment now long past. The shadow of death is the one I cast. I am a soldier and I'm marching on. I am a warrior and this is my song. My eyes are steel and my gaze is long. I am a warrior and this is my song.
We're not just going to shoot the bastard. We're going to cut out their living guts and use them to grease the treads of our tanks. We're going to murder those lousy bastards by bush.
Now I live lean and I mean to inflict the grief. And the least of me is still out of your reach. The killing machine's gonna do the deed until the river runs dry and my last breath leaves. Chin in the air with a head held high. I'll stand in the path of the enemy line. Feel no fear, know my pride. God and country, I'll end your life. I am a soldier and I'm marching on. I am a warrior and this is my song. My eyes are steel and my gaze is long. I am a warrior and this is my song.
All right, now you son of bitches. You know how I feel.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Cold War Radio, live on Spreaker, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hutch Bailey Jr., your host. Next to the river, in front of the mountain, in God's country, Camp Vienna studio, broadcasting right next to the river. I am going to preclude introducing my co-host at this time until I get done with the inside baseball, and then we'll be back. Please on Spreaker. The email is scrtv@live.com. The Cold War Radio patron hotline, 412-206-6208. You want to catch the podcast after the live stream, you can catch just about anywhere there are podcasts. Go to the 405media.com, steelcityresistance.com, iHeartRadio, RDF, the Cold War Radio app, available free in your app store. You can go to YouTube where it's fully transcribed. There's captions. We're on there for now anyway. When you're on Twitter, use the hashtag Cold War Radio and be instantly connected to other Cold War Radio listeners. Please go to steelcityresistance.com. That's the home of the show, and that's where you can become a Cold War patron or subscribe on Subscribestar. You can also check out the research room where there's ample material for any argument, debate, or conversation that you have with your leftist neighbors and friends. You can check out those of the show's audio clips, most anyway. Go to Cold War Radio Bunker where there's merchandise. And if you want to write to the program, write to Cold War Radio, P.O. Box 9602, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 15226. Cold War Radio. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome to the program, hopefully for a long time to come, one of the co-founders of this experiment that we started, Ward Miller. I can't believe I'm thinking about this, and I was looking for an historical document that I have on it. I couldn't find it. It's probably in my studio on the hard drive of that computer, but it's been almost 10 years, brother.
Yeah, it's been quite some time. It's really good to be back, man.
Great to have you. But if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, Ward and I founded Steel City Resistance in 2010. And then just things went this way and that way, and Ward had to step down for a while. Then he came back, and he had to step down for an extended period. And now he is back in the saddle, and I'm just glad to have you here, man. I was going through a couple things happened. One, I went to the show notes, and you're the first co-host since Mr. J that actually adds material to the show notes. So I was shocked that we're not going to get through all that because I wasn't ready for it, but we'll do the best we can. That was a
Well, I was just trying to pull my weight, man. I haven't been around for a while, and I was just trying to pull my weight and get stories and stuff.
And you did a great job, and I'll tell you, one of the things that brought us to this point is I started playing the old episodes of Steel City Resistance. Just really amazed at the that we have when we're on the air. Even back then, I mean, it was. I think we're up to episode 52. I think is where we are now. But I went back and I found another doc. There's another thing that's a little bit different about the show now than it was when we were doing it. The earliest one I have here is SCR 94, which was about a year after the episodes that are currently playing. But I'm looking at these numbers, man, and it's amazing that we kept on going on. I think 94 had 55 total. 95 had 33, 44 for 97. I mean, it's amazing how far we've been able to do this. And I'm just glad to get you back. Thought it a lot over the years. Like, man, I wish Ward was here now that we hit this pinnacle or that pinnacle, you know, and just glad to have you back, and I'm sure we're going to get right into it.
Yeah.
So
apparently, the chat room saying that you're having some issues with some sound cutting out.
Okay, that's possible. I mean, I don't, like I said, we're in the middle of getting ready to have a storm here, so I don't know.
Nasty storm, yeah.
There's nothing I can do about it. I'm on my best equipment. Hopefully, it'll even itself out, and if it doesn't, I apologize. There's not a whole lot I can do about it at this time. There was something really interesting happened in Turkey in the last few days. Word in Istanbul, which used to be Constantinople, the opposition candidate for mayor of Istanbul celebrated a landmark win Sunday in a closely watched repeat election that ended weeks of political tension and broke the long hold that President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's party has had on leading Turkey's largest city. Now, you've seen in the past, there's been civil unrest, in this very large city, and this could be maybe beginning of a turning point in Turkey's history. I certainly hope so. I mean, you know that Erdogan came on. He's a secular guy. I always call him, we both called him an imam, and I'd like to see his stranglehold loosened up a little.
Yeah, well, in fact, it's funny that we're talking about that because, what's his name? Morsi.
Yeah.
He just died. I mean, for whatever reason, the whole Turkey thing made me think of him. Yeah, that entire region is just. I'm just searching for words. It's just so messed up, man.
And not the least of which that they're a NATO member. I mean, that's the part that gets me. We've continued to allow them in NATO. I mean, if there's ever been a country that shouldn't be in NATO, Turkey is it.
Yeah, absolutely. For NATO. I was going to say in the United Nations, I'd throw in Saudi Arabia too, but whatever.
Yeah, I've always wondered about Saudi Arabia. You know, it's something that, I mean, I understand the reason behind it. I mean, you have to, I don't know, I don't want to say create unrest, but you know that the friend of your enemy or your enemies, whatever, you know that's saying. We keep them closer rather than farther away. And the oil over the years,
your enemies close.
Yeah. over the years, the oil situation was, although artificially set up, really, when you look at all of the oil that we have, the resources that we have today. I mean, you almost wonder who made all this stuff up that we didn't have oil, and all of a sudden, they're drilling everywhere.
Well, that was the thing. I mean, for the entire Obama administration, you couldn't drill anywhere in the first place. And it's, we have no natural resources, blah, blah, blah. And then fracking started, and they're like, oh, wait, here's another, industry that was untapped. And, of course, immediately, especially in the state of Pennsylvania, the government seized on it. And, we got to tax the shit out of these guys because, there's money to be made here, and we ain't making it. So now we got to tax them, and we'll tax all the people who work for them, and because that's evil,
Oh, of course it is. I mean, you're killing the planet, But then you take it even farther, and you go into New York, and you look at the Pennsylvania-New York line, and you can tell where the border is because the poverty gets so bad once you get to New York because they've banned fracking, and it's right there under their feet, man.
Yeah.
I can't believe more people aren't bootlegging it. That'd be the American thing to do.
Yeah.
Go get it anyway.
Well, I mean, the entire state of New York has a problem with making money. You got that Senator AOC coming in there and saying, hey, Google or Amazon, we don't want you. We don't want these $100,000 jobs.
How about that?
I mean, it's like, 2,500 jobs at an average of $100,000 a piece. And she just blew that off like, oh.
And they noticed it. They noticed it, too.
I don't understand how her constituents aren't running up to her office in D.C. with pitchforks and torches, man.
I've heard that she doesn't stay in her office very often. She's always out gallivanting, and I think her approval rating's like in the teens or something like that. She's not going to get reelected.
You'd hope.
Yeah, that's true.
But,
right.
You can never count on people from New York. I mean, how the hell did she get nominated and make it through that vetting process in the first place? I don't get it. It's just like she's an assault on common sense.
She is. and really what it was the Justice Democrats basically elected a few people. She's not the only one. Rashida Tlaib is another. And there's another one, too. I can't remember her name. She's a little more obscure. But this is the Young Turks.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
She was. Got an audition. She's talking. She doesn't even know what she's saying. People are handing her cue cards.
Well, the thing is, she stepped in it this week, and when she came out and said that there were concentration camps at the southern border, et cetera, and people took offense to that, and in fact, they said, "Hey, you want to come tour Auschwitz? We'll show you what a real prison camp, what a real concentration camp looks like." And she's not, and she refuses to back down on it. And the thing that's really sad is Pelosi and the rest of the leftists refuse to sanction her on it, or at least reprimand her and say, "Hey, look, this I mean, it's really anti-Semitic. It's what it comes down to." And it's like, well, why can't they say, you can't say that this is, a concentration camp? Why can't you not use that type of language?
And it shows how stupid she really is, too. I mean, comparing an illegal alien detention facility with Auschwitz just really shows the lack of knowledge that you have. And it's this is pervasive in people her age. I mean, this isn't something that just all of a sudden happened. They stopped teaching this. And it's just, it's hideous. Now, I can't believe it took so long, but Bernie Sanders, it's Christmas time, and the primaries are coming up next week, and I'll tell you, or maybe this week, they're coming up soon, but it's Christmas time with the Democrats. Bernie has proposed canceling all $1.6 trillion of student debt, and not only is that stupid, but it creates $1.6 trillion worth of people who don't understand responsibility. I mean, think of this going forward. If you go out and borrow $300,000, and now some communist comes and says, "Poof, don't worry about it. Mr. Miller and Mr. Bailey will pay for that."
Or here's the other thing. What about the guy that already went to school, paid his loan back, and then has to pay on top of that for this bailout for these other guys that didn't pay off their student loans?
Right.
You know, I mean, the student loan crisis is real simple to fix. You took out a loan, pay it back.
Yeah, and I mean it's inviting. You know, even my son. I've said this before on the show. We had a conversation when Obama was going to do it, and I said, "The hell you say? You borrowed that money, you pay it back. I'm not paying your money back." You know, and he didn't really realize these people don't put two and two together. That if you don't pay it back, and it's paid for
Somebody's
with tax
going to
money,
be.
your neighbor's going to pay it. That's right, and your family.
Somebody's going to be paying it back.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, that's the whole thing, right? I mean, right now, all the Dems that are running for president are breaking their neck to see who could spend the most money on the most inane crap there is. I mean, really, think about it. You got what's Cory Booker's? I can't remember what his is. Elizabeth Warren's is reparations for gay people. Now, hold on a second. We got to talk about this. We got to talk about this.
Unbelievable.
Now,
man.
I don't understand what they're being, you know, what they're getting this money for. I mean, because they were what? People were mean to them?
I think that, you know, they're going to have civil unions. None of it's going to go anywhere. I mean, it's something that, can you imagine being a Democrat listening to this? I mean, the debates are going to have to be just a suicide march. I mean, there's some people that are all about these entitlements. There are, but the vast majority, I think this election is going to be a killer, man. I don't think Ronald Reagan has anything on Trump when it comes to his second term. I honestly believe that.
God, no.
And I'm going to explain it as we go forward.
Oh, I agree with you 1,000%. And what I really, really hope, and you know, every one of these retards that's out there campaigning right now is going, we're going to impeach Trump.
Yeah.
Every day on Twitter, I say the same thing over and over and over again. Please do that. That will do nothing but guarantee a 2020 landslide. That's why Pelosi won't do it. She knows. She knows if they do it because, number one, there's nothing to impeach him on. You have to commit a fucking you have to commit a crime in order to be impeached.
Right. No, and you know, the thing is, when you have an impeachment, you're going to have cross-examination, and you're going to have discovery.
Exactly.
And everything's going to come out about Clinton and Obama, and what are the media going to do? Not cover it? You know, go ahead.
I think it's already happening.
Right.
I think that's happening, dude.
I do too. I mean,
I like this AG Barr, man. He's a straight shooter. He doesn't mess around. He doesn't back up. I dig him, man.
Yeah, I do too. Now let's shift a little bit to what's going on overseas in Iran. You've got a complex situation unfolding there. We had the Corker Amendment that passed and allowed complete turning on its head of Senate treaty authority, and Corker Republican, was able to get it to where you needed 2/3 of the Senate, which is normally needed to ratify a treaty, which the Iran deal was, and he flipped it around that it had to be 2/3 not to ratify it. And so we got out of that, and then they shot our drone down, not to mention killing thousands of United States service members in Iraq, because I actually saw that with my own eyes. You know.
They were sending munitions and whatnot. Well, no, and they bombed those two oil tankers too, coming through the strait there.
Sure.
And Trump even brought this up. I don't know if it was on Twitter. Maybe I may have seen it on Twitter, and he said, you know what? We're getting a lot of flack from Iran about this, bombing. Why are we the only ones protecting ships? But where's these countries, that they're flagged under? Where's their navy at? Why aren't they being protected by their guys?
And that's what I said.
Why are we doing it for free?
I saw Senator Cotton out there right after it happened, and he was beating the war drums and saying that we need to attack Iran. I'm like, whoa, Senator. Were those our tankers? They were not. They were Japan's. Japan is closer. So you know, there's that. But it's a good thing that the Democrats are up on their foreign policy. Let's listen to Kamala Harris and her analysis.
CBS News political correspondent Ed O'Keefe was also in Columbia Saturday, and despite a case of laryngitis, he did catch up with California Senator Kamala Harris and asked her if Democrats should give the president credit for calling off a strike on Iran.
I don't believe that anyone should receive credit for a crisis of their own making. There is no question in my mind that the current occupant of the White House, President Trump, put in place a series of events that led to that event.
How did President Harris fix the problem?
Well, frankly, I believe that we need to get back into the Iran nuclear deal. I would strengthen it. I would include ballistic missile testing. I think that we can strengthen what we do in terms of monitoring and verification of progress. But there's no question that a lot of negotiation with a great deal of depth took place over a long period of time to reach that. And it was an agreement that was being complied with by all parties.
Where do you rank Iran in terms of threats to the United States?
I am on the Senate Intelligence Committee. On a very consistent basis, I receive classified briefings about the threats to our nation's security. And on the list of potential threats, especially in terms of nuclear threat, North Korea is, of course, on that list. Iran is on that list.
So, Ward, the president caused all this. Nobody else had anything to do with it. Yeah. John Kerry being over there. These people ought to be hanged for what they did with Iran. Delivering cash?
Pallets of cash. I mean, not just a little bit of cash. I mean, so much cash you had to put it on a pallet and fly it there on a damn airplane. Lots of cash. And, you know, Kerry was just there. I mean, when are they going to start, you know, prosecuting him for violation of the Logan Act?
I know.
I mean, him and Obama.
Right. I mean, it has to end that way. I think if it doesn't end that way, that we're in real danger of people going out in the street. And, you know, Democrats, they think that Antifa and the rest of these miscreants that go to the streets, you don't want us to go to the streets because we're not looking for a soundbite. No. If we go, something's going to happen if we go. It's a little different than these fake grassroots groups that are paid $25 to go do something. But, you know, one of the things that I really like about the president is that right when I think that he isn't paying attention to something, he turns around and he's all over it. One of the things that terrify me in this country is all these illegal peasants that are coming in voting Democrat, and a whole entire party of the United States political system is okay with that. That really, really bothers me. We need law and order now more than we ever had. I want you to listen to President Trump and Chuck Todd. I think it's Chuck Todd. It's one of those guys. But he knows what time it is, and Chuck Todd's going to try to pretend like there was no voter fraud at all. Listen to him trying to cut the president off.
Decided not to do it, but still, it's not good. We're going to come up with great health care if we win the House, the Senate, and the presidency.
You prepared to lose?
No, probably not. Probably not. It would be much better if I said, yeah. It would be much easier for me to say, oh, yes. No, I'm probably not too prepared to lose. I don't like losing. I haven't lost very much.
You didn't like the fact that you lost the popular vote. That bothered you, didn't it?
Well, I think it was I'll say something that, again, is controversial. There were a lot of votes cast that I don't believe. I look at California.
Mr. President.
Excuse me.
But that's it.
Take a look at Judicial Watch settlement where California admitted to 1 million votes. They're admitted to 1 million votes.
1 million votes of what?
Take a look at
what are you talking about?
Judicial Watch made a settlement. There was much.
About what?
There was much illegal voting. But let me tell you about popular vote. Do you have a second?
Yes, because you were a fan of it.
Well, I like popular vote.
Yeah.
I think I do better with a popular vote. But I didn't campaign for the popular vote. You didn't see me campaigning in California or New York. If it was up to the popular vote, I would have done, I think, even better. I won 306 to 223, which was a lot in college. But it's like for the 100-yard dash versus the mile.
No, you're totally
It's
right.
totally
If it's a
different.
popular vote, you
I
lean
went to
differently. I
Wisconsin.
don't disagree.
She forgot. I went to Michigan. She didn't go to Michigan enough. I won Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. I won places that she didn't do a good job. What can I tell you? No, maybe I did a great job. You know, I never get credit for that. They always say she was a lousy candidate. I actually think that Hillary Clinton was a great candidate. She was very smart.
Yeah.
She was very tough. She was ruthless and vicious.
You'd rather run against her again, wouldn't you? You
No.
only talked about her in your announcement
No.
speech. You spent a lot of time talking about her.
No, I would actually rather run against Biden.
Then
I
you
think
come-
that would be my preference.
Why?
Sleepy Joe. He's sleepy. She was not sleepy. Let me just tell you something. The Electoral College is tougher for a Republican to win than the popular vote. At least me. I feel that I'd go to 3 places. I went to 19 or 21 states. I went to Maine 4 times because I wanted to get one, and I did get it. And that's the beauty of the Electoral College. You know, I've been a proponent of the other sometimes, and I change. But I will tell you, the Electoral College brings to many of the states in this country.
You have joked about a third term. You've joked about these
I only
things.
joke.
Okay.
I joke and I say, I will
You
drive
will
Chuck
accept the
Todd crazy.
Okay. You will.
Yes.
And you will
100%.
accept whatever
Sure.
happens in 2020. You lose,
Sure.
you'll be like, you're not going to like it, but you walk out.
I said a speech recently, I said, watch, we'll drive the media crazy. Let's go for a 3rd term and then a 4th. And the media said, he is going to do it.
Speaking of driving people crazy, when you were asked about Mike Pence in 2024, and you paused a minute about endorsing him as your successor, that got a lot of people going. Is Mike Pence 100% on your ticket in 2020?
Well, look, 100%, yes.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
There is no
He's
wiggle room.
He's been a terrific vice president. He's my friend and a lot of things. So, no, zero.
So why'd you hesitate endorsing him and succeed?
I was a surprise question. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
thought
not
about
even
it.
thinking of it. It's so far out. I mean, it's so far out. That would be the only reason. Now, what happens in 2024? I don't know that Mike is going to run. I don't know who's running or anything else.
Yes, there's much more to my interview, and you can see it all, unedited, soup to nuts, on our website, meetthepress.com. When we return, panel is back and later.
Did you hear him try to laugh off the fact that millions of illegal votes were tallied in California and it was port? I mean, this guy is an enemy
Oh
of
yeah,
the state.
it was like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. What do you-
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, laughing it off. It was unreal. But I guess that's what you get.
He's a
you know?
clown.
He
I mean,
is a
there's-
clown. There's no question about it.
Well,
He-
I mean, the thing is, nobody stands up to NBC, CBS, to the big 3, right? Nobody stands up and says, hey, you know what? How about start telling us the truth? Try that for a little, and no slant, no, this happened. Good, bad, indifferent. These are the facts. That's what a reporter's supposed to do. It's not supposed to be, well, I kind of want to believe this didn't happen, so I'm going to lean over this way a little bit. No, your job as a reporter is supposed to be, I'm going to give you the facts and you make up your mind. That's how it's supposed to work. But a lot of people apparently forgot that, and everything has to have a spin and you can't watch, even local news has to have a leftist spin on it. It's just so terrible. It's disgusting.
It is, and the thing is there's an opportunity for a network, any one of them, to break out of this, and they would clean up. They would be, there's so many people out there, especially the crowds are growing, Ward, on the left and in the moderate areas. I use my wife as a point of reference on this on the show all the time. If my wife is mad about it, then she doesn't even pay attention to anything other than headlines. And when she shakes her head and says, geez, can you guys get off this Russia thing? We've hit a nerve. And I think that's almost where we are. I think that you're going to see however many Democrats fled Republicans in 2016. I think you're going to see that exponentially larger than it was in 2016. I really do.
Oh, absolutely. Black vote is running for the Democratic Party. You follow any. Just start watching on Twitter, man. You just see this cascade of African Americans just bolting for the Republican Party just because the Democrats are just crazy, man. I'm trying not to lose my temper and get us banned or something.
And I mean, it's the evil that they've showed toward the black community. It's published, man. It's real. Why do you think they're taking statues down? They're destroying evidence. I mean, this is something that none of it's taught in school. So I would imagine that when a black citizen finally figures it out, they've got to be pretty pissed off. It's like, nobody ever told me this. Why didn't somebody tell me this?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, when Hillary Clinton came out and said that Margaret Sanger she considered Margaret Sanger one of her heroes. And then all the Margaret Sanger quotes start coming out about her, basically euthanizing the entire black community. All of a sudden, she was no longer her hero, and all those stories went away.
And what did she replace it with? I've got hot sauce in my purse.
Yeah. Or no, that's when she went to with a bird.
Yeah.
From West Virginia, the Klan lead in West Virginia. That was also her mentor.
Right.
So you're scoring big hits there, sweetie.
Oh, yeah, she's doing good. She's doing good. Now, I want to preface this next comment with, I know that we have some very outstanding, dedicated, smart, and pro-American teachers that listen to the program. But now I'm going to talk about the other 80%. There's a poll out 1 year after the Janus decision, and that was a decision that mandated that teachers do not have to join unions to keep their job. So 1 year after that decision, 52% of teachers are unaware that they can leave unions. That stunned me. When I saw that, it's like, how can you not be paying attention? Or did the mainstream media not cover this? And when teachers find out about this, are they going to drop the mainstream media? What's going to happen here? This is that blew me away. Over half.
I don't know if it's that, they say that they're unaware that they can leave. It's one of those situations where they're afraid to try to leave.
Oh, that I could understand that. Yeah. I could definitely understand that.
So there's an unwritten rule where you can leave, but it might not be in your best interest.
Right. I mean, and it's like the unions, the city workers unions in our city. They're out there setting up the signs and everything for the Biden rally, and they're in the audience and all this, and they all voted for Trump, and they're going to vote for Trump again.
They have to seed the audience, no matter who they bring in here. They're going to have to seed the audience. Trump's the only one who fills stadiums, dude. I mean, it's ridiculous. I've never seen a politician pull a crowd like this guy.
No, it's wonderful.
Think about it.
Let me ask you a question. I want to ask you a question, Ward, because this is something that still bothers me to no end. You saw the excitement during the 2016 campaign. You saw the venues that Hillary Clinton could not fill up. Even Obama couldn't fill up the venues toward the end of his second term. And then the rallies, the massive rallies, 3 rallies in the Pittsburgh area, 4 if you count Bridgeville or Ambridge. And I was at them all. Mm-hmm. And the last one was the biggest one. It was the night before the election, and it was huge out at the airport. Do you believe now? Okay, Pittsburgh's one thing. Pittsburgh's 300 and some thousand people. Allegheny County's 1 million. And you look at the small concentration of Clinton signs that there were in the neighborhoods. And I live in the city, and my street, my little area, was 10-1 for Trump. And I'm talking retired school teachers, all union members, everything. Do you believe that Allegheny County went for Clinton 100,000 votes? Because I don't.
No. I honestly believe that there's some shenanigans going on. And I mean, pretty much every election now, as soon as it starts at 7:00. By 7:30, there's always a report of somebody screwing with one of the voting machines, or one area of the voting machines isn't working correctly, and blah 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 blah. And they report that there's something wrong with it, but they never say what they do to fix it, or if the machine was changed out,
right?
Or what the deal was. It's just there was an anomaly, or whatever whatever word.
I mean, I was watching the election after the presidential election, the special election that Connor Lamb ran in, and I'm watching the results, and the results said polls closed, all votes are tallied, and I turned away, and about 5 minutes later I looked back, and there was 3,000 more votes than there were when they were closed. It's horrible, man. It just is, and I'll concede Allegheny County if they want to be communist, let them, whatever. But I just wanted to ask you that because I never had anybody really answer me, and it still sticks in my craw, man, because of the rest of the people in the county. No matter what Pittsburgh did, I mean, it's a big county. All right,
you could get a whole lot of. I mean, because that was part of that whole lawsuit for the gerrymandering and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so they were changing which areas could vote for him and whatnot. I mean, it was just sad.
And what a skank Murphy was. I mean, the way he went out was horrible too. But anyway, we'll just leave that alone and forget about that. Try to. Out in Oregon, the GOP out there has had enough. The state senators are still on the lam. They're having a cap and trade vote, but they have to have 2 Republicans to have a quorum in the Oregon state senate or state house. I'm not sure which, state senate. So they went to Idaho and Utah, and the governors sent the state police after them, and they're still out, man. They're not having it. I'm proud of those guys. It's a little weird, but what else are you going to do?
But didn't this happen before though?
In Wisconsin,
like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah,
it was in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I mean, they just ran away and said, "Well, we're not going to vote," and they ran to the town or something.
Yeah, it was the Democrats.
Yeah, that's right. It was Democrats in Wisconsin after what's his name got elected.
Walker. Yeah.
Scott Walker. Okay.
So that happened. They're out there on the lam, and you've got a little problem in Maine that's starting to develop, and it's her own fault. But Sarah Gideon, Maine House Speaker Sarah Gideon, a Democrat, announced today, that she will challenge Susan Collins for her Senate seat next year. That's something, it was never really, other than the Kavanaugh hearings, what has she ever done that was good anyway?
Who's that, Collins?
Yeah, Susan Collins from Maine, a so-called Republican that always votes with the Democrats.
McCain of the North.
Yeah.
I shouldn't speak ill of the dead, but yeah, whatever. Yeah, you're right. Other than her vote on Kavanaugh was pretty much the only time you ever heard of her, really.
Yeah, really. She did well on that one. She came out with a statement and everything, but I won't be sad to see her.
Well, yeah, because it's no. We got to. You know what? It's always one of those. Be careful what you wish for because you just might get it.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of consternation brewing with the masters of the universe. Google, man. YouTube, who takes down every single little conservative show or thought that's out there, but they still have a video up of a St. Louis police officer, Langsdorff, lying on the floor dying after he was executed in the back of the neck by a criminal. It's still playing on YouTube. This is something. What are your thoughts about this as far as YouTube, Google, Twitter, the whole 9 yards? And I have a story about this. Get to it. That they're serious about this. This is something that I'm not usually for government intervention in businesses for the most part, but social media regardless of what they started out being, are damn sure the media now. And I think that there has to be some kind of protection for the First Amendment. I know their platform, but maybe they could be broken up or regulations set up. Something has to happen or we're going to lose our ass.
Well, when you consider, I mean, it's basically the collective mind, right? When you talk about Facebook, they can manipulate what you see, when you see it, and how often you see it. So if you're online and you're constantly with a right-wing, opinion and whatnot, they might start showing you just a little bit more Democrat stuff and a little more, you know what I mean? And here's a sponsored ad.
I do. I am that guy.
Exactly. And that's what Facebook's kind of looking to do. As far as like Twitter just outright says, "Oh, you're saying things that we don't like, and we're going to ban you." And I hate that. That is, if you want to say, if you're in the Klan and you have the most vile opinions in the world, and you have every right to espouse, I shouldn't be allowed to. I shouldn't be able to tell you what you can and can't say. That's the First Amendment. You have that right to free speech. It doesn't mean that it has to be correct speech or speech that anybody wants to hear, but you have that right. And so when you have an organization like Twitter coming in and saying, I really don't like what you're saying, so I'm going to suspend you, like they did to James Woods, or what was that girl's name?
Loomer, Laura Loomer was one.
Yeah, Laura Loomer. She was one. Candace Owens got it, and it's just odd to me that the only people getting banned are conservatives.
Yeah,
people with a conservative opinion.
Look what they did to Alex Jones, man. I mean, Alex Jones, you can laugh at him all you want, but they shut him down Nazi Germany style.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Without beyond a shadow of a doubt. And, they keep calling Trump the Nazi, but every one of their tactics are straight out of the Nazi playbook.
You're so right.
We're going to control the media. We're going to control, what you hear, when you hear it, the way you hear it. That's exactly what Hitler did. And nobody's going, hey, wait, what's up?
Right.
Except the conservatives and people like us going, why? This is stupid.
Right. No, there's no question. And, we did a series on the show a year or so ago called Shaping Our World. And it was something where we tried to cover down on just one subject per episode. We had several of them, but one of them actually traced back the Nazi propaganda and political machine. And believe it or not, and this was a shock to me, the Nazis took the Democrat National Committee's pillars and adapted them to the Nazi machine. I mean, that's how they replaced the things. They replaced black with Jew, and they went to town with it, with the eugenics and everything.
And the thing is, and all these people they keep going, Trump's a Nazi and all the Trumpsters are Nazis and, Nazi. First off, the Nazis were the Socialist Party. Right. Isn't that what you're running to? I mean, that was your, the AOC's and Bernie think that that's the way to be, but that's the way that Hitler thought it was a good idea too.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
And Swalwell's horrible. I'm glad he's not getting any traction. I can't stand that woman. But anyway, there he is. I want to go to the national security team. Trump kind of cracked me up. And this is people can get their panties all in a bunch all they want. But this is one of the things that I love about the president. He said, I have doves and hawks. If it was up to John Bolton, we would take on the whole world at one time. If that doesn't,
and he's right.
I know he is. I know it, and I like John Bolton.
Yeah.
So
do I. I'm not saying anything.
He's a warmonger.
Yeah, Bolton
there's
definitely
no question.
wants to fight.
Yes, he does, man. There's no question. I interviewed him one time, and he had the Cubans and the Iranians in Venezuela and da-da-da. And I asked him, why don't we do something? Why are we allowing this to happen? And he's like, I'm just a citizen, man. I'm not even, And then he was appointed after that. But Yeah, he's definitely not one to mess with. But, I'm so glad the president held back on the Iran thing. I do. I think that was a millstone that they were going to put around neck, and it was going to be nothing but talk about that until the election. And you got Kerry over there, and I heard even that in the meeting when the president was contemplating targets, there were Democrats in the room, the committee chairs and things like that. And there's reports that, as soon as they found out the targets, they went out and called Iran. And the next thing you know, there's 150 men, women, and children at these locations.
Oh, yeah.
I hope they find that out. I hope they find that out. Because you know what? It's time to fire up the firing squad, man. I mean it. I have never been more serious about anything in my life. People need to pay for the treasonous, seditious things that they've done with their lives.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole... I think that's the problem all the way around, is there's no fear of retribution.
No.
Because everybody's like, oh, wait, we can't do that. We can't put this person to death. We can't, we can't do that kind of stuff. And, so these people, when I was in the military and I got my security clearance, they told you point blank, you do this, you go to prison or you get put in front of a firing squad. UCMJ is very unforgiving. Pretty much everything in there ends up with, and you will be put to death. Commit treason, you will be put to death. And so it's kind of, for me, it's like, well, why aren't these people being put to death? Because every one of them's committed treason. John Kerry's committing treason every other day, running to Iran and every one of our one of our enemies.
But then you have, but then you have Bo Bergdahl and the trans testicle, that got away with it. I mean, two of them. And I'll give you another example, because you and I are just about roughly the same age. And do you remember back in 1979, there was a case that was called the Kill for Thrill killings? I don't know if you remember that one.
Was that the one down in Alabama? No, Georgia, right?
No, this was in the United. This was in Pittsburgh. It was the Kill for Thrill killings.
Oh no, I don't remember that.
It was
in '79. I was in high school, dude.
Yeah, I was too.
A freshman.
I was too. I was a senior, I wasn't a senior. I don't know. I think I was a freshman for the third time. Anyway, my point is, my point is, they tried these guys, and the only reason I really knew about it because I knew there were two guys that were over 21, and there was one kid that was teen that I knew that got up with these guys, and they did. They were in downtown Pittsburgh, and they lured a homosexual organ player out and took him in his car and killed him. And then they went and killed this lady. And then they went to Apollo, Pennsylvania, and there was a cop on duty there. This was 79. It was the town's first black officer, and he was only on the job for like 3 days. They drove by this 7-Eleven. He was parked in the 7-Eleven, and they drove 3 or 4 times at like 90 miles an hour to get him to chase him. And he finally did. And when he came up to the car, they killed him. Well, anyway, my point is that both of those two guys got the death penalty. And 3 trials later, and that was 1979. So you fast forward all these years to 2019. One of them just died of natural causes in prison, and the other one's still in prison. There is no such thing as a death penalty in Pennsylvania, none. And there's no such thing as life in prison. I mean, if you get the death penalty, you might get life in prison. If you get life in prison, you're going to do 20 years.
Unless you're in Texas.
Right.
Unless Texas, because Texas don't play around, man. If Texas is putting you to death,
no, they run
pretty much count on that.
Yeah, they run out of the drugs. That's how much they take it serious. But so back to social media for a minute. Devin Nunes has sued Twitter for censoring conservatives. There's good news on that front.
Well, Mac, and we are back with Congressman Devin Nunes. And Congressman, before I get into Iran, also I want to get your thoughts on China. Let me ask you about your lawsuits against media. You have sued Twitter as well as McClatchy. Tell us about that.
Well, the Twitter one is important. We start the discovery process tomorrow, so we have a bunch of subpoenas and asking for information from all the folks that were involved in allowing Twitter to not only develop content, but also shadow ban me so your viewers and Americans couldn't see my tweets for a period of time. We don't even know how long. So I'm very worried about this for the next election, whether I call the tech oligarchs, whether it's Twitter or Google or Facebook. It always seems like most of the time it's the conservatives that get kicked off, and you can't see our platforms, or you can't see us on their platforms, where the left, they get away with murder. And so that's this discovery process on Twitter starts tomorrow. And then, of course, we have more lawsuits that are on the way. And I hate to be having to do this, but it's really the only way that this problem can be fixed. Because if we don't, conservatives, I think, are going to be doomed in future elections because all of these tech companies are against us. And I think Republicans and conservatives across the country need to understand this, and they need to take action now. And the only remedy we have is the court.
Are you concerned that Twitter will try to influence the election in 2020 by doing whatever they can, like shadow banning, et cetera? And
Maria, they're already doing it.
Yeah,
they're already doing it. I mean, it's clear what they've done to me is ridiculous. What they continue to do to others. I mean, you see people getting kicked off of Twitter for nothing. You see the same thing happening at Facebook. You see, 90+% of all the searches go through Google. We know that Google's been actually blocking emails from going out. So, look, there's going to be a number of
lawsuits. Is that illegal? Is it illegal, Congressman?
Well, it depends on if you can prove it in court, right? So it takes people that are willing to step up and take these companies on, which I'm willing to do, not because I want to do it, but because it has to be done. Because in the long run, we can't compete with if social media is totally against the conservatives and the Republican Party.
Because they say they're not media companies. Do you want to see legislation that puts them under the umbrella of media companies?
Look, I think the courts, I mean, what we're saying is that Twitter and these companies, they're content developers. They claim to be, we're just an open public square. We treat everybody equally. Well, they don't treat everybody equally. It's not even close. And so what I want is I want my day in court to go before a judge and a jury to explain how it is that Twitter treats conservatives differently than the left.
Okay.
And maybe, perhaps, if they have to pay, and if we have to open up their books and we have to look at all their algorithms, maybe we can fix them. And if not, then maybe they have to be broken apart. I don't know what to do.
And I know you have a court date set for the end of August on this.
That's correct.
All right, let me switch gears real quick and ask you about Iran, because the president says he's...
All right, so this is a pretty serious issue. And we're going to even go even deeper next hour on this. But it's something that, maybe it started out as just an entrepreneurial situation and platform. But like I said at the beginning of the show, Ward, it has morphed into becoming the media. I mean, I don't have the statistics in front of me, but I've seen them before. Where young people don't even watch TV anymore. They get their news from the internet. And I didn't realize until I just listened to that clip again that they were blocking emails. I mean, that's pretty heavy. That's like mail fraud.
But at the same time, like he said, to be able to prove that, you saying, hey, you know what? I sent that an hour ago. You mean you didn't get it yet? No, I didn't get it until the next day or whatever. I mean, it could be, all kind of technical difficulties, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, there's nothing that says that they got to tell you the truth. I mean, now the shadow banning and stuff, partially because Project Veritas got the guy on tape saying that we shadow ban. I mean, that's where the word came from, right? That's where everybody figured out, okay, they're doing this. And then they screwed up and they did to Nunes. So when he's hitting him for $250 million, but I like, in fact, it was your fault. I got on that Gab back when it first came out. And in fact, I still have an account there. And they're still trying to get back up. but they take a lot of hits because the real social media, Twitter, Facebook, etc., don't like the fact that you can go on Gab and say whatever you like. They don't monitor anything, and it's wide open. Now, if you have general sensibilities, and it gets harsh, but that's the free speech thing. You should be able to say what you want to say. I mean, and it works kind of like Twitter, where you can keep yourself out of the hate groups. But I mean, they exist. That kind of stuff does exist because it does exist in the real world. So, and I would rather have it's something like that where it's there. I know it's there, and I can avoid it. I don't need the nanny state telling me that they're going to avoid it for me. We'll take care of you because you're too stupid to figure it out for yourself. No thanks. I'd rather have it wide open.
Yeah.
And if I don't like that group, I don't join that group.
That's right. But then when they're taking active stances on political situations and actually doing things to move the ball forward on their side, I think if we don't pay attention, it's going to be our doom, at least politically. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to. Wait a minute. Let's take this call first, so I don't have to make them wait throughout the whole thing. Let me just get to my control room as opposed to my studio. My hard drive's my processor's moving a little bit slow tonight. And let's see, what do we have? We have 479. 479, what's your name and what's on your mind?
This is Dean.
Gene?
I was working on my web. Yeah, Dean.
Dean, okay, good.
I was working on a website that I'm putting together, and the funny thing about it, when I was going through there trying to set everything up, a picture came up in Facebook that was real subjective. Well, I put a flag on top of my Facebook page, and Facebook shut it down until they approved that picture.
Huh. How about that? That's I
can't even log into it.
Was it a picture that you had taken from Facebook, or it was just a picture that you had that you uploaded?
No, it was a free domain picture.
Oh, no, I wasn't saying. No, that wasn't it. I was just kind of wondering if that would tell me that they're like doing some kind of live scanning of the pictures to see what it is. Saying, hey, this is a new picture. Because, I've uploaded tons of stuff, and they've never, marked it any of mine.
Your Facebook, right up there by your picture, you can put a scene on that big square area. That's where I put the flag. And it logged me off, so I logged back on, and they said I could not make the account until they approved that picture.
And it was just a picture of the American flag?
Yes.
Oh.
Huh.
Well, that tells you where we are, Dean.
As far as that censorship.
Yeah, it's nuts. It really is, and it's so counterproductive and divisive too. I don't know what they're trying to do. Apparently, the education level of all geniuses that want to usher in socialism / communism / Marxism didn't read the last few chapters of those manifestos when the government controls all of the media. They missed that part. That's one thing that I could never get my arms around, Dean, was, you look at these people on all the networks and in these social media platforms, and don't they realize that if they get everything they want, they are out?
Well, yeah. One thing I've realized, if the TV station has 3 letters, or if it's got 2 names in the title, you're done.
Good observation. Hey, thanks for calling, Dean. Call back anytime.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Cold War Radio with my co-host Ward Miller and I. Don't go anywhere, because you know what? We'll be right back.
You are listening to Cold War Radio. is Ronald Reagan. Last year, the contributions of 16 million Americans to the Crusade for Freedom made possible the World Freedom Bell, symbol of hope and freedom to the communist-dominated peoples of Eastern Europe, and built this powerful 135,000-watt Radio Free Europe transmitter in Western Germany. This station daily pierces the Iron Curtain with the truth, answering the lies of the Kremlin and bringing a message of hope to millions trapped behind the Iron Curtain. Grateful letters from listeners smuggled past the secret police express thanks to Radio Free Europe for identifying communist quislings and informers by name. The Crusade for Freedom is your chance and mine to fight communism. Join now by sending your contributions to General Clay, Crusade for Freedom, Empire State Building, New York City. Or join in your local community.
Would you like to voice your patriotism without the threat of being censored or shadow banned? Would you like to contribute to wounded veterans but don't know how? Would you like to communicate with like-minded conservatives without control? If you answered yes, then Red Elephant, rdelephant.com is for you. Red Elephant is the new social media platform that will not censor or shadow ban you, and a portion of your sign-up fee goes directly to the wounded warrior. rdelephant.com.
One America News Network, your leading source for the latest being national and international news. With nearly 4 times as many headlines as the other networks. Straight news, no speculation, no opinion, just the facts. Complete coverage 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. One America News Network, your source for credible news.
AOC, how I explain her, she really make my brain hurt. She always need a Twitter page to save her. I'm really sick, but she always spitting gibberish. I wasn't gonna diss you till you talked about my militants. You said my veterans are better off just sitting in line outside the VA when the waiting has been killing us. We wanna visit a private doctor or physician, but you say the VA isn't broken, so don't go fix it in. Girl, you tripping, you go tell that to the veterans. That in front of the veterans, a fair without the medicine. This is nonsense, it's not about law or politics. This is for all my veterans sweating out in the hottest. If you really are that somebody who never went and fought the sick, how could you ever talk about medical? We ought to get. I see you move your lips, but it never make no sense. You need to play of our documentary on Netflix. Cause like CBS, AOC don't know ABCs. VETs are not 1, 2, 3, we just be sing. So you can cut the script that you read for the public. And with a puppet in front of us fronting it really make me sick of AOC. Sick of AOC.
The very First Amendment in the Constitution of the United States of America gives us the freedom to express our opinions and ideas in many ways. Speech can be weak, speech can be strong. Speech can be words, speech can be song. Speech can breed love, speech can breed hate. Speech can be poor, speech can be great. There are so many things that speech can be, but above all else, speech must be free. This message is brought to you by the NAB Education Foundation, the Broadcast Education Association, McCormick Foundation, and this station.
Looking for an alternative place to find news and opinion? How about conversing with fellow patriots? Join us Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific for Cold War Radio. You will find it at www.spreaker.com or in the Spreaker app. Search for Cold War Radio and you will find it. Since I've been listening, I have met some terrific patriots and learned quite a lot about current events that the mainstream media will never tell you. Please come and join us. Be inspired. You will feel right at home in our Spreaker chat room.
And welcome back to Cold War Radio, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Hutch Bailey Jr. Ward is on my right flank, and on the phone, it's Sean from California. Hello, Sean, and what's on your mind?
Hey, Hutch and Ward, how you guys doing? What's on my mind is, you all remember how Judicial Watch sued the crap out of California, at least in Los Angeles County, for $100.5 1.5 million inactive voters, right?
Huh? What do you mean? What are you talking about? No. What? Did you hear Chuck Todd about that?
That's a joke, man. That's not real.
Well, judicial. There was also another part of it that I didn't realize. I thought I should share. The Secretary of the State of California has been forced to tell other counties of the state of California to clean up their voter rolls as well. All inactive and dead or whoever moved are to be cleared out of the voting registration system.
Well, half the Democrats in California are going to be gone, ain't they?
I don't know. I mean, when I heard that, I'm like,
most of them are dead. I thought
that's going to nicely dent Gavin Newsom. But then, it also got me thinking, oh, well, there's tons of illegals here, so... Well,
yeah, they'll just replace them. Yeah, they'll just replace them. I saw a thing, Sean, that for every one white that's into Texas, there are like 6 or 7 Mexicans. I mean, this isn't going to end well. If we don't, and the rough part about it, and this goes the Islamic influx into our country too. If we don't do something about this like now, this is going to cause us to have to do something that's truly draconian. We're going to have to round them up and ship them out. And I don't want to be involved in that, but I mean, it's either that or we just say, okay, we'll just live with it.
Well, I think that's part of the issue too. Is this roundup that was supposed to start on Sunday, was very poorly portrayed in the media. They were making it sound like that, ICE was just riding around with paddy wagons and throwing brown people into them. And that was nothing further from the truth, because what they were doing, it was people that were in this country that applied for asylum that didn't get it and were told to leave.
Or never showed up to their court.
They didn't show up to court, or they did show up to court and were denied. In either case, they were supposed to leave the country. They didn't. That's what this task force was going to do, is encourage them to complete their legal journey.
And guess what? State of California, you know how you were saying that there was 10 or 6 or 7 of them? Well, double that, Hutch, actually. It's more likely more than 20 now.
Wow.
To replace one single American. Oh, my God. It's really bad here. And, it's going to get worse for us on July 1st. Starting July 1st, all these new tax hikes on God almighty. So you know how you have to
I just saw that.
Right? Let me explain this really quick.
Good.
So right now, I think it's around $100 to $160 or something to register your car. A month. Now,
to register what?
A month. A car.
A car.
Your car. The DMV.
Wow. Monthly. And ladies and gentlemen, this is
now. It's $200, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, let me tell you what that is.
$200 a month.
That's Agenda 21. And if you were paying attention to international news, Ireland I'm not sure if they passed the legislation or if the legislation is ending, but they are on the brink of banning private automobiles. And ladies and gentlemen, and that's what California is. And every bike lane that you see in the middle of the city, that's what that is. This is all designed to make you powerless against the state. Your car, your car and your guns are two of the most freedom guaranteeing things that you have. Take away your car, and now you have to use public transportation. What's public transportation? Now in the air with ES control, it's union. It's all unions. The Democrats can stop movement anytime they want through their crooked unions. I'd like you to, Sean, dig into that a little bit deeper. I want to. That's amazing to me. A monthly payment for your vehicle. Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
And didn't your gas tax just go up to? I thought I saw something on the news.
That's part of the gas tax, actually. It's part of the gas tax.
So the gas tax it's going up what, like another 6 cents or 60 cents? What was it?
I think it's up to 70 cents. Is it 70 cents?
What's a gallon?
70 cents.
What's a gallon of gas out there right now?
Gallon of gas, it's still $4 in certain areas.
Jesus.
But other areas it's like $5.
Jesus Christ.
If you round it.
Man, that's nuts.
If you round it. And then there's the fact of the premium. Oh man, I haven't looked at the premium prices right now.
That's probably $15 a gallon.
Nobody buys that anyway. Don't worry about it.
Well, my grandma does. She has a car that she fills up on premium.
Okay. All right, Sean.
It's not.
Thanks for calling, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Sean, California. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the connection. It's a little shady tonight. It's not normally like this. We've been through storms before, but tonight is acting that way. I want to announce something that I'm very happy about. Second baby grandson was born.
Congratulations, man.
Well, thank you very much. And my father's name was, we'll just use Hutch. He used Robert, but we'll just use Hutch. He's Hutch Bailey Sr. I'm Hutch Bailey Jr. My son is Hutch Bailey III, and we just call this kid 4. So I'm tickled pink, especially after the trauma that we went through that we reported on Memorial Day. Mom and child are doing fine. 8 pounds, 13 ounces. He's coming out swinging. God bless the world, man. I just am so very happy about that. Let me go back to the room and let's into the program from Eugene, Oregon. Hello, Marlene.
Hey, Hutch. Hello, Warren.
How you doing?
Hey. Oh, I'm doing great. Sunny and warm out here. Anyhow, I want to give you just a real brief update on our little fun situation with our governor. I didn't get a chance. I put the link in the chat somewhere down there. But basically what she's saying is that she's not going to negotiate with any of the Republicans who are out of state. They have to be, if they're not in the building, they have to be in state. I'm like, whatever.
Well, I mean, why don't you talk a little bit about the militia that showed up in Salem?
Okay, basically I posted that on Saturday, and there was a militia. They showed up to basically go after these Republicans who were walking out because of this cap and trade bill.
See, I thought they were there to protect the Republicans. I thought that's what I read.
Well, I'm grabbing my paper from Saturday here.
It was interesting that they showed up anyway. I mean, that's something that
it is. Yeah.
I think. I mean, as the government, especially the leftist side of the government, continues to get more and more lawless, I think you're going to see more of that too. I just don't see. When you take, for instance, everybody listening to the show, we're all trying to live our lives and, live under the law and live, the way that we feel is right, and we love our country, we love our fellow Americans, and you see what these people are doing, and you're realizing that, well, I go out and I vote every time, but Allegheny County went 100,000 for Clinton, and I know it didn't happen.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what they reported, and everybody, Chuck Todd, talking to the President of the United States, starts laughing when the President says, calls out their voter fraud. I mean, these people are doing crimes right in front of our faces, and the media is telling us it's not happening, even though we watched it happen. What are you supposed to do? And really, all you have to do is look back into our history and see what we do when things like this happen. When they tax our tea too much, or they tax our whiskey too much, we start burning shit down. And we haven't done it in decades, and I don't want to do it. Don't get me wrong.
No, I don't either.
But, at some point...
Actually, I was looking that up. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The militia threat was from right-wing protesters in a walkout by Republican lawmakers. So, yeah.
All right. So there
But
it is.
anyway, it was just kind of crazy. And speaking of little Miss Katie, I got John V. earlier apparently she's been spending a lot of money on frivolous things, kind of like Nancy Pelosi. She's doing a Pelosi, except it's out here in Oregon.
Right.
She's spending buku bucks, and I guess she deleted $4,000 worth of items from 4,000 things from her state calendar, and it all had to do with money. There was violations of credit card laws and all this kind of stuff, and I'm going, oh God. I just can't wait for that commie Katie to get out of there. I really can't. The sooner she's gone, the better. She's just nuts.
I know when I saw it.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
Okay. The last thing you guys were speaking of unions, there's this group that they're trying to get signatures so that anyway, we back up. The city council voted to enact another payroll tax.
This is in Eugene?
Which would be on employers and employees, which means I would have to pay another, I don't know, what is it about, maybe $7 or $8 or so, or I don't know, I'd have to figure it out. But anyway, it taxed me more to pay for supposedly public safety and public safety and municipal justice system by hiring more police officers, detectives, yada, 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 which is okay in theory, but basically they wanted to go to a vote instead of just enacting it.
Well, you have to pay your fair share, Marlene. Haven't they been telling you that?
I understand that.
Apparently you're not paying attention.
I know. No, I pay my fair share, doggone it. I do.
I pay a couple people's fair share.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Out in Oregon, good grief.
Where do you live at in Oregon?
Oh, you don't know Oregon. I'm actually living in Eugene, and I don't know how well you know. I don't know if you know your Oregon geography or not, but
not at all. I have a friend who's a police chief in Hillsborough.
Okay, I know where that is. That's north of me.
Okay, yeah. My buddy's a police chief.
Yeah, that's north of me about 2 hours. I am about 2 hours south of Portland, if that helps you any.
Like I said, I just didn't know where Lee lived. Well, if you get pulled over in Hillsborough, you can drop my name and say, call the chief.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm totally kidding because
of all the Antifa freaks and all the other crazy people up there. Eugene's got our share, but I will not go into Portland if I can help it. I stay away from there. And I kid you not, Warren. It is just, Hutch will tell you, it's insane up there. They've got all kinds of crazy people.
I believe you.
Yeah, we're living the dream. We're living the dream too, Marlene. Believe me. That's what
I know.
Oh, yeah.
I know. Pittsburgh's not wonderful either. I know.
That's what got us. That's what got us to start the show. Hey, call back again.
You're welcome.
All right, Marlene, ladies and gentlemen, you just heard her on the promo. Yeah, we've come a long way. When you look on the icon in the internal chat, it brings up a map of where they're from. So where the call's from. Doesn't always work. Okay. Sometimes cell phone will fool you, but hers was accurate. Anyway, so they're in Oregon. Marlene not paying her fair share, so they had to legislate. But Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren, as you mentioned earlier, has proposed more than $50 million in tax reparations to the LGBTEIO community. Ridiculous thing to say.
She's trying desperately to find a group to gravitate towards. First, she tried the American Indians, and they didn't want her. So they're like, get the hell out of here. So she's okay, well, I guess I got to go with, the gays. Maybe the gays will I'll give you money. Will you like me if I give you money? I mean, and for all intents and purposes, that's pretty much the platform. I'm going to target my demographic, and I'm going to tell them I'm going to give them a lot of money. And then by doing that, I might get elected. Now, she is a complete moron. Wait a second. I got one more thing. I have so many things going through my mind. I haven't talked for so long. The whole LGBT thing, I like to throw this out there. You know how they're saying that there's more than two sexes, and
7 or 8. But 7
if that was the case. Okay, yeah, but here's the problem. You can't be LGBT because the B stands for bi, meaning two.
Right.
Just throwing that out there. So when you can add all the letters you want because there's two in the name. So
it's unbelievable.
Just one of them things that comes to my head that I.
And I mean, to come out with something like that for, what is it, 2 or 3% of the vote? It's like, not only are you ridiculous, you're stupid. Especially when there's a queer dude running for president. You know, I mean, they already got their guy.
Yeah, and you don't think he's going to grab the queer vote? Well, he's not going to be around, man. He's going to drop out. It's going to end up coming down to maybe Pocahontas, and looking into my crystal ball, Biden's not going to make it. He's going to drop soon.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see him.
He's 80 years old.
He doesn't have... His heart's not in it. He's 80 years old. His heart's not in it.
His son's...
And every time he opens his mouth, he sticks both his feet in it.
Yeah, one son is dead and the other is a moron. I mean, he ought to be looking for somewhere to go retire and just,
he ought to be looking for someplace that don't extradite is what he should be looking for.
That's true, too.
He knows all the shit that Obama did.
You're right.
He should be looking for a summer home in a non-extraditable country.
Costa Rica or something. Now, one of the things that I remember about this show is after about 6 months of the administration, I realized that, much to my chagrin, Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III was not the man for the job. And he was hurting the president by staying around. And I caught so much head of that for that opinion. There were certain people that no longer are part of the audience that fought me tooth and nail on that. And it just, I don't like saying I told you so.
I don't understand.
Good.
I don't understand what you mean that, he was terrible. He was a terrible AG.
But there were people.
What anybody have to say?
There were people out there that were telling me that Trump is just a 3D chess player and that Sessions had 50 sealed indictments on all these people that he was getting ready to put out. And there was a state of Utah, another assistant attorney general who ends up being Huber now, who didn't do anything the whole time he was there. And just on and on and on, and I didn't know what I was talking about. And Mueller was a stand-up guy too, and President Trump, ladies and gentlemen.
If you could have one do-over as president, what would it be?
Well, it would personnel. I would say if I had one do-over, it would be I would not have appointed Jeff Sessions to be Attorney General. That would be my one.
That in your mind,
that was the big.
Bill Barr,
Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate it. No cards and letters, ladies and gentlemen. I was right again. I'm not wrong that often. When I am, I'll admit it. But that guy was a chump from the beginning.
Well, I mean, he was covering his buddies. I mean, he'd been around the block a time or two, so he owed all these favors. So when I honestly believe when investigations start getting close to his, his pals or whatever, he steered in another direction.
Yeah, he did.
All right, look at this. Start chasing this. Now, I will say that under Sessions, they did do a bunch of pedophile raids.
They did,
and they broke up a bunch of trafficking. I give the devil his due. I mean, he was a terrible AG for the most part, but the work that they did on these child running schemes and the pedophile rings, etc. They broke up a ton of them. So you got to take the good with the bad. I guess.
I agree with that, but the problem that I have with it. And you're a veteran, so you've been on the rifle range in the military, and you know that there's several different ranges of targets. And you have targets, at least in the Army, out at meters, 200 meters, 150 meters, 100 meters, and 50 meters. And the way that you're trained is you can engage targets at your leisure until one of those 50-meter targets comes up. And if a 50-meter target comes up, one that is most likely has the best odds to kill you. And you kill that 50. You have to drop everything else. Kill that 50-meter target before you do anything else. That's the guy who can kill you. So Jeff Sessions was out there, and he was hitting all these 200-meter targets. He was hitting MS-13, he was hitting pedophiles, and his president was sinking. His president was going down drain. The most important thing that he had to do was to stop the coup. And for whatever reason, he didn't do that. And that's all I'm saying.
Well, and I agree with you, but at the same time, the fact that they were able to finish the Mueller report, and now after all the months of them saying, just wait till that report comes out. Just wait till that report comes out. You know, Mueller leaked all that other stuff. Why didn't he leak the fact that, hey, we don't have nothing to say?
Right. Yeah.
We have a what is it? It's for something ridiculous, it's like 2,000 pages of a report that doesn't,
like
that says
300 something, but still too many. Yeah. And it's,
I mean, you know, and the other thing is too, and then what's that clown's name in Nadler? You know, he's going, well, we want to see the unredacted.
Yeah, Jowls.
Yeah, we want to see the unredacted version. All right, asshat. Number one, he can't give that to you. It is illegal. He would be, you're basically trying to force him to commit a crime.
Right.
By them saying, we demand that you turn this over. If he turns that over, he committed a crime.
Right.
So
I mean,
they said you can go to he could go to one of the what are they called? The
SCIFs.
The document, the SCIF. He could go to the SCIF and read it to his heart's content.
Right.
As can anybody else in Congress, especially on that committee. And none of them have taken that opportunity.
No.
Because, you know, maybe it's they want the unredacted version so that they can leak it. Or they can leak parts of it. You know, there's a reason that stuff's redacted.
You know, and you look at what they're doing too. What they're doing as we move forward with all of the different things that we've talked about, you know, the ILMs and the VROD and social media, you know, they're totally dismantling the rule of law. I mean, with the Kavanaugh hearing, they had this guy tarred and feathered before he got a chance to say anything. And that's the reason why non-redacted stuff is not legal to disclose to the public, because there's people in there that are accused that never had the opportunity to tell their side of the story. And you can't release that kind of thing.
Grand jury testimony.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't release grand jury testimony. I mean, and they, you know, they're supposed to be lawyers and whatnot. They should know what's legal and what's not legal. And when the AG goes, I'd like to give it to you, but it's illegal. He said it. I watched the trial or the hearing, and he said it point blank. My favorite was, what's his name?
Schiff?
No, the fake Vietnam vet.
Danang, what's his name? Danang Dick Blumenthal.
Yeah, Blumenthal. When he was questioning the AG and Barr, he says, was anybody in the room when you talked to Mueller? He says, yeah. And did anybody take notes? Yeah, they did. He says, can we have them? No, you can't.
I know, it's beautiful.
And I love the way he just matter-of-factly, no, you can't.
Can you imagine the audacity of that guy showing up for work after exposed what he said about his Marine Corps experience? Unreal, man. These people have no shame. Just none. All right, what I want to do now... Yeah, I know it is. I want to give you a little hope.
There's no other way to look at it.
Yeah. I want to give you a little bit of hope going forward, going into this election. This is a panel that CNN put together of lifelong Democrat voters. And I forget her, Navarro, is her name Navarro or whatever on CNN? You see the video on the video page.
Yeah.
But listen to her talking to these Democrats, and I know she cannot wait to get out of the room. Smell the Walmart on these people.
Cheaper. I believe that Trump's objective is to get these jobs back in this country. These jobs, that manufacturing jobs that our former president were never coming back, and claim that Trump would have to have a magic wand to get them here.
Have them come back.
And I have seen them come back.
Because you're in the automotive industry, so how have the jobs come back?
My son for example, he's 26 years old, graduated high school. The company he went to work for while I was president paid him $10 an hour. Since that time, expanded to the other side of the state. My son's salary has increased 10%.
And you give President Trump credit?
I give President Trump, yeah, I do. I've seen improvement. I have hope for my son's future.
The black man.
History. For those of you who are still planning to vote for President Trump and still support him, what are the promises made that you feel the president has kept?
I looked at all the presidents that have promised to move the embassy in Israel, finally moved that, and he did it. He talked about the tariffs. I knew he was going to do it, and he's done it.
The tariffs?
Yes.
Like that?
I love that. Yes. There's probably going to be a little pain, but the end result, look at the results already, where some of these countries, some of these things have already backed down, just some of them with the threat of tariff, and then some where the tariffs have gone through, and we've seen it started working.
So, David.
So that's got to be terrifying, and people, the American people see what's going on. You're not going to hide it from them. I mean, you can do whatever you want on the news, but when your tax return and your paycheck, especially your paycheck, is showing you more money every time you get paid, you're not going to try to put that fire out.
No, I mean, it's completely stupid. You know what I mean?
I do.
This president, since he was inaugurated, the stock market's never been higher. And if the Fed would have done what they should have done and done it right, we could have tripled the stock market. But they kept trying to stomp it down with, increasing the rates and whatnot, and then that creates fears, and they caused a whole lot of crap by just not. Hell, all they had to do was leave it alone. They didn't screw. If they wouldn't have screwed with the interest rates,
and
it would have been through the roof.
He's still raising them. I mean, the president had to get on the guy, the Fed chair today, about raising the rates too fast and too quickly. They're doing everything they can. And let me be clear.
Yeah.
Let me be clear. I'll sound like a Democrat, like I'm getting ready to confuse you. Whenever they get ready to confuse you, they say, let me be clear. They're not after President Trump, ladies and gentlemen. They're after you. President Trump is in the way. The United States Chamber of Commerce, the Koch brothers, and all the rest are behind the fact, when they say the top 1% keeps getting richer and richer and richer and everybody else keeps getting more, that's because you're buying the products that the top 1% is selling, but you're not making those products. Third world peasants are making those products, and the middle class damn near disappeared over what the Republicans have done to the economy. I did not parse my words. I said that correctly. The Republicans have lied to you and have allowed this to happen, have actively supported this happening. Why do you think Paul Ryan is gone? Paul Ryan was their guy, man. Mitch McConnell is the guy. And I'm talking about foreign workers that work for people at the top tier of the United States Chamber of Commerce. And until we figure that out, we're going to continue to wonder, what happened? We have a majority, but there's no wall. We have a majority. And the Gang of Eight, headed by Marco Rubio,
Ryan
John
wouldn't
McCain,
even let it come to vote.
Jeff Flake, and the rest of them are bringing an amnesty bill to the Senate. It's dangerous, Ward. It really is. And we have to understand that the Republican Party as it stands today is not the answer. I mean, you've got Ted Cruz out there who's like the second most conservative person that you hear about in Congress, and his wife is a deep state shill and has been for 30 years. I mean, it's just something that it's sad, but it's true.
Well, I mean, you look at the one that's coming to mind right now. In fact, we were going to have a story on it, but we just didn't make it. Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham is a perfect example.
He is.
Because he was so far. He was a super. Everybody knew he was a rhino, right?
Sure.
And then after the Kavanaugh hearings, he stepped up and he started, pounding his chest a little bit. I'm going to be the savior of the Republican Party. And,
he's so
you
into
know,
himself.
Donald Trump is the greatest thing next to sliced bread. And that's what he started doing. You know, Trump's my guy, and, you know, the president this and the president that. You know, and now it's come out that, you know, with Trump putting the brakes on that deportation thing, that Graham comes up with a amnesty bill.
Oh, of course.
You know,
of course.
Just in time. You know, he's going to swoop in and save the day with his amnesty bill.
He's vermin. He is vermin.
And Americans do not want amnesty.
No.
No, I don't know why they don't take this stuff like this, that's such a major thing, and put it on put it to a vote.
I agree.
You know, come election time, put it on the ballot.
You're never going to see a wall. You're never going to see anything until we break the back of this U.S. Chamber of Commerce Party Republicans. And there's a lot of them out there, Ward. I mean, there's way more of them than there are good conservative Republicans, and there are some good.
Oh yeah, you get guys
conservatives.
There are some good guys. Jim Jordan's phenomenal.
Guess who's horrible?
Jim
Pat
Jordan's
Toomey.
probably one of my favorite guys up there.
Pat Toomey is a cancer.
Pat Toomey's beyond terrible.
John Cornyn.
Yes, he's beyond terrible.
They're everywhere. They are. Now let's see what we could do.
I really like Jordan.
I do
Jordan's
too.
Jordan's my guy.
Jordan and
I used to like Trey Gowdy, and then Trey Gowdy.
Gowdy's a fraud. He's a fraud. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
because when it came time for Benghazi, he dropped the ball.
Exactly.
You know, now all this other stuff's coming out now that came up from the Mueller investigation, and it's like, oh, wait a second. Well, why wasn't this brought up during the Benghazi investigations?
And ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you, if you want insight on these people, I used to be a big Trey Gowdy fan. I really was. I mean, I even tried to copy his hairstyle. But you know, I really liked the guy. And then I started following the conservative treehouse and a guy named Sundance. And what he explained to me and taught me was that Trey Gowdy had a job. If you remember, Trey Gowdy was a very junior congressional representative. And when Jason Chaffetz moved to Fox News, instantly, this was back when Boehner was still the speaker. Boehner made Trey Gowdy the chairman of the House Oversight Committee way before his time. And the next thing you know, I'm watching Sundance, and he says, anytime you see Trey Gowdy come on the news or have a hearing, that is designed to put us back asleep. That is designed that whenever a crisis arises, that the people are starting to get really mad, to bring the smoke and mirrors and the chaff out, and Gowdy is the perfect person to deliver that. And I got to tell you, Ward, for 2 years, I was so pumped up when I saw Trey Gowdy on the stage, and oh man, it's going to happen now. And nothing ever happened. When the Benghazi...
that was the definition.
Good.
That was the definition of the nothing burger.
Yeah. I mean, when the Benghazi hearings were over, Benghazi was over. The hearings were done. Nobody went to prison. Nobody was held accountable. Hillary Clinton up there in her Islamic green outfit, if you recall, and said, what does it matter? You know? Unbelievable. Let's try to get through some stories. Google insider to Project Veritas. Company will never, in quotes, let somebody like Trump come to power again. And this obviously isn't from an American. Alum Bokhari writes this piece. A Google insider who spoke anonymously to Project Veritas claims that the company is devoted to preventing anything like the 2016 election of Donald Trump from happening again. Think about that, folks. The insider who spoke to Project Veritas also drew attention to covert support of non-progressive voices on YouTube, a Google-owned platform, said that stopping President Donald Trump and other politicians like Trump has become a priority for the tech giant. The insider claimed that the company did a complete 180 in what they thought was important, abandoning earlier ideals of self-expression and giving everyone a voice in favor of crackdowns on hate. Ward, this is a big deal. This is a huge deal.
Oh, absolutely. When you can how big Google is and what, pieces of the Google tentacles touch everything. I mean, between, Gmail and searches, I mean, they can control what you see. And that's what I said before, I was saying about Facebook, but it's the same thing for Google. They can control what you see, how often you see it, and when you see it. So, for them to say we have a agenda in one way or another is just, I mean, and that goes for YouTube too. I mean, because they own YouTube. There shouldn't be a censoring mechanism. I mean, it's one thing if you're out there, slaughtering goats and putting it on YouTube. Okay, yeah, I can see.
No, that's legal. That's called halal.
Maybe
that's halal. They're allowed to do that. But
yeah, but they're pixelated or whatever. And that's cool. But you shouldn't be able to go in there and say you can't say that. And that's the problem that I have with most of these platforms is you can say whatever you want as long as I agree with it.
Yeah.
And then everything will be cool. But if I don't agree with it, nobody else is going to see it.
Right. It's like I said, if I want your opinion, I'll give it to you. But that's just the way that is. Now, Project Veritas also obtained undercover footage revealing yet another Google executive declaring the company's intention to intervene in its products to stop Trump in 2020. Responsible innovation head Gene Geni was recorded stating that Google shouldn't be broken up because smaller companies couldn't prevent another Trump situation. And I love the way the article ended, Ward. Are you an insider at Google or any other corporation who wants to confidentially reveal wrongdoing or political bias at your company? Reach out to Alum Bukhari, that's ALUM Bokhari, Alum Bukhari, at his secure email address, alumbukhari@protonmail.com. I'm going to spell it one more time. ALLUM BOKHARI, Alum Bukhari, one word, at protonmail.com. It has to end, man. It does. He's a senior technology correspondent at good sport, really was. Now, you said that AOC denied the invitation to go to Auschwitz. Boy, she's courageous, isn't she?
Oh, yeah, because I think that she honestly just says things figuring, hey, I'm going to get a splash. She gets her 15 minutes out of it, and then they, leave her alone for a couple weeks, and then she says something else stupid, but she never retracts it. She never says, I misspoke or whatever. It's always, no, I'm not going to take that back. Because when she doesn't do that, it gets her more attention. Because that's all she is, really. She's an attention whore.
Yeah.
She wants her name in the press. She wants the ink. She doesn't care if she doesn't have a clue of what she's talking about. Like she was on, what was it? Shit. She was. I can't remember the show. It might have been. Like,
I don't know, but she used
Face
to be.
the Nation.
She was a bartender. And I can just imagine a customer coming in, and ordering ordering a screwdriver, and she reaches for the gin. I mean, she doesn't look like a person.
Or she hands him a Phillips head.
Yeah, she doesn't come across. The only thing funnier than her. Do you remember the video? I don't know what in the hell kind of fruit. She had some kind of squash. And she had a big knife. I thought she was going to cut her fingers off. She did a Facebook Live or a Twitter thing, Periscope. And she's chopping this big vegetable.
Oh, yeah.
It was
trying to show that she's her human side or whatever. Yeah. Do you remember when Pocahontas did that?
With the beer, yeah.
And she was like, come on. Yeah, come and have a beer with me.
Let's have a beer.
I would have a beer with you.
Right, and Why isn't there any brand name on
I
that
got
bottle?
I got plenty of lesbian friends I'd rather drink with than you.
It's not like Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. Lesbianism is not like it is in the movies. But anyway, no, you're right. And wow, ladies and gentlemen, I want to apologize for the quality of the stream tonight. It's been and Ward, I want to just encourage you. It's not like this all the time. This is a bad night for the internet with our show tonight. I haven't seen it this bad in a long time. So it's atmospheric. There's no question. There's storms rolling all through Pennsylvania, and Ward and I are both in Pennsylvania. And I could hear it on your connection. I could hear it on the callers. And thank you for sticking with us. We love that. Man, it's good to have you back here.
It's good to be back. It's extremely good to be heard.
I'm glad to hear that, initially, and I'll only go this as far as you want to, initially, actually both times that you honorably retired from the program, you did so for medical reasons. And then apparently you followed the doctor's orders because you contacted me a while ago and said, hey, man, I'm going to see if I'm cleared. And, man, I was praying for you, boy. I was like, man, let him be cleared and get back on the air. This is where it all started, man. I'm feeling good here.
Yeah, well, me too, because the reason I left, and I can talk about it now, is I had cancer. I found out that I had stage 3 colon cancer. So that was when I stepped down because there was no way I was going to be able to focus and do anything. I was out of my mind for a while. And then I had to start the chemo and all that stuff. So I didn't want to be involved in anything to do, with the show and whatnot. So then the doctors kept telling me that the 2-year mark is the important one. If it doesn't come back by 2 years, you're pretty much cool. So I waited till the 2-year mark, and that was the appointment that I had last week before I sent you the email that said I was coming back.
God bless you, man. God bless you. And I'm kind of going through that right now. Not to that extent, but I did go to the hospital and had a very high number of polyps removed. And we're in the process now of figuring out why. But they're removed. So, I mean, it was, I didn't get in there too late. I got in there just in time, I guess. So I'm with you.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that, man. You kind of just blew my mind.
Yeah, I tried to keep it, I didn't want a whole lot of, fanfare or whatever.
I'm the same. I'm the same way as you, man. I'm the same way as you. Don't wish me anything. Just
but that's
let me
why
go fight.
now. That's why now I will tell everybody, go. Once you hit 50, go get you the colonoscopy, get that stuff checked out, because it was nothing but the grace of God that I went and got the test done, and they caught it. I mean, I was stage 3.
Wow.
Next one, it's bad.
Right, and it's not fun, because I've done it twice already, and I'm getting ready to do it again in October. You have to prepare for the examination, and it's not fun. But I'll tell you, if I wouldn't have, I'd probably be getting close to dying by now. And that's the VA I'm talking about. And I'm sure you're not, but I mean, I'm a VA patient, and God bless you guys at the VA. No matter how bad they talk about you, you guys saved my damn life. And somebody saved Ward's too. And that's good. Go get the test, and do not allow them, because they will, because there's cheaper alternatives than the colonoscopy. And they will tell you, hey, just all you got to do is just mail it in. No, you have to go get the colonoscopy, guys. You just do.
Absolutely.
It's something. I just, and you hear my voice, I had polyps in my vocal cords too, 25 years ago. And that's why my voice is the way it is right now.
Huh.
So this is just the way it is. And
I thought that was smarmy talk.
Well, it's that too. But I used to be able to talk a lot louder than I can now. Now, if I have a mic, I can talk loud, but get me in a bar room and I can't get above the crowd. It's just the way it is. But anyway, Ward, so glad to have you back, brother. And ladies and gentlemen, again, please don't judge the show on tonight's internet quality. This is going to be a great chapter in Cold War Radio. We now have Steel Seat Resistance embedded in Cold War Radio, and I am sitting on top of the world. I'm happy. Ward, final comments, and how can people get in touch with you?
You can always hit me up on Twitter at Wardy22. That's all I really got going on right now. I mean, I maintain the site, the Cold War Radio site on Facebook. So if you go to that site, I'm usually posting the stuff on that. And that's about it.
All right, brother. Glad to have you back. Jacob Seals.
Glad to be back, man.
Oh, man, it's great. Jacob Seals in the background, American Dreamer. Go to rspn.bandcamp.com and support him, a great musician. I'm Hutch Bailey Jr. on just about every social media platform you can think of. God bless you, 4. Holy smokes, how long it'll be till I get 4 on the show. I don't know, his mom probably won't let him come on the show, but we'll deal with that when we get there. Sitting here overlooking the majestic Allegheny River in the Allegheny National Forest. Life's feeling good, ladies and gentlemen. See you Wednesday. We got an interview. Mona Salama will be at the Road to Majority in Washington, D.C. starting Thursday. Her brother is deploying with Navy on Wednesday, or, on Thursday, but she's getting together with her family on Wednesday. Absolutely right move. But she will be on location in Washington, D.C., and we'll be bringing you coverage of that. Friday nights, as always, with Norway and myself. Thanks for letting us into your life for a couple hours, ladies and gentlemen. God bless.